I never planned on becoming a tech industry legend. 5 years ago, I was just Alex Dom, a quiet software architect at TechCore Solutions, one of Silicon Valley's unicorn companies. I had a good salary, stock options, and a corner office with a view of the San Francisco Bay. What I didn't have was respect. Machine learning can't solve everything, Alex, Marcus Davidson, TechCore's CEO, had said dismissively during my last product pitch. Your ideas about predictive AI for cybersecurity are interesting but unrealistic. Stick to maintaining our current systems. That meeting had been the final straw. After 3 years of watching my innovations get shelved while inferior solutions were championed by executives' favorites, I'd made my decision. I quit the next day, much to everyone's amusement. Another dreamer off to start a garage startup. I overheard Davidson tell his executive team, "Give him 6 months before he comes crawling back." What Davidson and the others didn't know was that I'd been preparing for this moment for 2 years. While maintaining TechCore's systems during the day, I'd spent my nights developing something revolutionary, an AI system that could predict and prevent cyber attacks before they happened. Not just through pattern recognition, any decent security system could do that, but through genuine predictive analysis. More importantly, I'd done it all on my own time, with my own resources, carefully documenting every step to ensure there could be no claim on my intellectual property. I'd even hired a team of lawyers to review my employment contract and development logs before I left. The first year was exactly as hard as everyone expected. I worked out of my apartment, living on savings and ramen noodles. But I had something more valuable than comfort. I had a vision and the freedom to pursue it exactly as I knew it needed to be done. My former colleagues occasionally reached out, their messages a mixture of pity and schadenfreude. "How's the dream coming along?" They'd ask. "TechCore just raised another 100 million. Sure you don't want to come back?" I always replied politely but vaguely, let them think I was struggling. Let them believe I was just another failed entrepreneur. The truth was far more interesting. By month 18, I had a working prototype. By month 24, I had silent partners, major players in the tech industry who understood the value of discretion. We operated under a maze of shell companies and NDAs, developing and testing the system in complete secrecy. The technology worked better than even I had dreamed. In controlled tests, it caught 99.9% of cyber attacks before they could begin, with a false positive rate of less than 0.01%. More importantly, it learned and evolved, becoming more effective with each attempted breach. Major companies began adopting our system quietly, under strict confidentiality agreements. Their security breaches dropped to near zero. In the tech world, people started whispering about companies that seemed mysteriously immune to cyber attacks, but no one could figure out why. Meanwhile, TechCore was struggling. Their own cybersecurity solution, rushed to market after I left, was proving inadequate. Major clients were jumping ship, though no one knew they were jumping to my company, hidden behind layers of corporate anonymity. Then came the annual Silicon Valley Tech Gala, the industry's most prestigious event. I usually avoided these gatherings, but this year was different. Tomorrow morning, the news would break. My company, Nova Security Systems, was being acquired by one of tech's biggest players for $12 billion. The shell companies would dissolve, and everyone would know who had revolutionized cybersecurity. I arrived at the gala alone, wearing a simple black suit that probably cost less than most people's watches. The grand ballroom of the Four Seasons was packed with the industry's elite, CEOs, venture capitalists, and tech journalists, all celebrating their own success. Davidson spotted me as I was getting a drink at the bar. He aged in the past 5 years, his hair grayer, his face more lined. "Running a struggling company will do that to you." "Well, well," he announced loudly, drawing the attention of nearby guests. "Look who it is. Our former employee who was going to revolutionize cybersecurity." His voice dripped with sarcasm. "How's that going, Alex? Still working out of your garage?" The surrounding crowd chuckled. I could see familiar faces from TechCore, including several who had dismissed my ideas. They were all watching, waiting for me to show embarrassment or shame. Instead, I smiled, taking a slow sip of my sparkling water. "Actually, Marcus, business is going quite well. You might want to check tomorrow's Wall Street Journal." He laughed. Still the dreamer. "Well, when you're ready to rejoin the real world." TechCore might have an opening in system maintenance. You were always good at that. At least. I glanced at my watch, 11:45 p.m. In exactly 15 minutes, the embargo on the acquisition news would lift. The Wall Street Journal would publish their exclusive story, followed by every major tech publication in the world. Tell me, Marcus, I said quietly, but clearly enough for the surrounding crowd to hear. How is TechCore's security division doing? I heard you lost 3 major clients last month. His face darkened. We're in a transitional period. Our new security system has a 35% failure rate against sophisticated attacks, I finished for him, and an alarming tendency to generate false positives that shut down legitimate operations. Quite costly for your clients, I imagine. The crowd had grown larger, drawn by the tension in our exchange. Davidson's face had turned an interesting shade of red. And I suppose you've done better. Where's your revolutionary solution, Alex? Where are your clients? I checked my watch again, 11:50 p.m., 10 minutes. You know what your problem always was, Alex? Davidson continued, warming to his audience. You never understood the business side of technology. Ideas are worthless without proper execution, without the right connections. Like the connections that got your inferior security system pushed through despite its obvious flaws. I interrupted calmly. How much has that cost TechCore in market share? A muscle twitched in his jaw. You're just bitter because you couldn't hack it in the real world. Running back to your garage to play with your toys while real companies solve real problems. When was your last successful innovation, Marcus? Not acquired, not copied, actually innovated. The room had gone very quiet. Even Davidson's usual sycophants looked uncomfortable. My watch showed 11:55 p.m. You know nothing about running a real technology company, Davidson snarled. You're a dreamer, Woe, who just sold his company for $12 billion, I finished quietly. The words hung in the air for a moment before their meaning registered. Davidson's face went from red to white. What? I pulled out my phone, opening the Wall Street Journal's website. 3, 2, 1. The headline appeared exactly at midnight. Tech giant acquires Nova Security Systems for $12 billion. Industry's mystery security provider revealed. The subtitle was even better. Nova's founder, former TechCore engineer Alex Zhang, revolutionizes cybersecurity with predictive AI system. The room erupted in chaos. Phones were yanked out of pockets and purses as people rushed to verify the news. Davidson stood frozen, his champagne glass slipping from nerveless fingers to shatter on the marble floor. But I wasn't done yet. The night was still young, and there was more news to come. Sometimes success isn't just about proving people wrong. It's about changing the entire game they thought they were playing. The chaos at the gala lasted for precisely 7 minutes before an even bigger bombshell dropped. My phone buzzed with a new notification, right on schedule. Breaking news. Major tech companies reveal Nova Security Systems as their secret weapon against cyber attacks. TechCore's main clients among them. Davidson, who had been frantically scrolling through the acquisition news on his phone, looked up just in time to see his company's biggest remaining clients being listed as Nova's secret customers. His face went from white to gray. That's impossible, he stammered. Our contracts. We're all up for renewal last quarter. I finished for him. Did you wonder why they insisted on monthly terms instead of annual commitments? They were waiting for this announcement. The crowd around us had grown larger, now including several tech journalists who were live streaming the encounter. Davidson's very public meltdown would be trending on social media within the hour. You've been our competition all along, he whispered. Every client we lost. Switched to a superior product, I nodded. One that actually worked as promised. Imagine that. But I wasn't just there to gloat. I pulled out a thin folder and handed it to Davidson. You might want to take a look at this. It's a formal offer to acquire TechCore's security division. His hands trembled as he opened the folder. The number on the purchase agreement made his eyes widen. It was far more than the struggling division was worth. Why would you? Because despite everything, there are good people working there. People whose ideas deserve a chance to be heard. I glanced meaningfully at some of my former colleagues in the crowd. The offer includes retention bonuses for all current employees and guaranteed interviews for new positions in Nova's expanded operations. Davidson's executive team was already reading over his shoulder, their expressions a mix of shock and calculation. They could see the writing on the wall. TechCore's security division was dying, and I was offering a golden parachute. You have until Monday to decide, I said quietly. Though given your stock price will likely take a hit when the markets open, I suggest you don't wait too long. As if on cue, phones around the room buzzed with stock alerts. After-hours trading had begun, and TechCore's stock was already dropping. The acquisition offer would be their best chance to save face, and their employees' jobs. I turned to leave, but Davidson's voice stopped me. Why? He asked. Why all the secrecy? Why not just prove us wrong from the beginning? I turned back, remembering all the late nights, the dismissed ideas, the condescension. Because you taught me something valuable, Marcus. You taught me that sometimes the best innovation happens outside the spotlight, away from committees and corporate politics and people who think they know better. The next week transformed the tech industry. Nova Security Systems emerged from the shadows to become the new standard in cybersecurity. Our client list, finally made public, read like a who's who of global technology. The stock price of our acquiring company soared. TechCore accepted the acquisition offer on Monday morning. I kept my word. Every employee was given the chance to join the new organization. Many of them had been my colleagues, people with brilliant ideas that had been stifled by corporate politics. Now they would have the chance to innovate freely. Davidson resigned as CEO the same day, citing personal reasons. Last I heard, he was writing a book about disruption in the tech industry. Ironic, considering he never saw the biggest disruption coming until it was too late. 3 months after the gala, I stood on stage at the World Technology Summit, preparing to unveil Nova's next innovation. The audience included many familiar faces from TechCore, now wearing Nova employee badges. They looked different, more energized, more creative, freed from the constraints that had held them back. Innovation isn't just about technology. I began my keynote speech. It's about creating environments where good ideas can flourish, where creativity isn't stifled by hierarchy or politics. Sometimes the quietest voice in the room has the most revolutionary ideas. In the front row, I saw Lisa Chen, a former TechCore junior developer who had once tried to show Davidson a new approach to network security. He had dismissed her without even looking at her proposal. Now she was leading Nova's next-generation development team, her ideas finally getting the attention they deserved. The future of technology isn't about who can shout the loudest or who has the most impressive office, I continued. It's about who can solve real problems in real ways. Sometimes that means working in silence until the solution is ready. Sometimes it means letting your work speak for itself. The acquisition had made me a billionaire, but that wasn't the real victory. The real win was in the emails I received daily from tech workers around the world, inspired by our story to pursue their own innovations despite corporate obstacles. We had become a symbol of what was possible when talent and determination overcame office politics and prejudice. 6 months after the gala, we launched the Nova Innovation Lab, a space where developers could work on their ideas without corporate interference. The only criterion for admission was the quality of the innovation. No politics, no favoritism, just pure technological merit. Lisa's team was the first to use the new facility. Their project? A revolutionary approach to quantum encryption that made even our original security system look primitive. When she presented it to me, I saw in her eyes the same fire I had felt when developing my own system. The pure joy of creation without constraints. You know what the best part is? She told me after her successful presentation. Nobody told me to think smaller or be realistic. You just said, show me what you can do. That's when I realized we had done more than just build a better security system. We had created a new way of thinking about innovation itself. The quiet revolutionaries, the overlooked innovators, the dreamers who were told to be realistic. They finally had a place where their ideas could thrive. 1 year to the day after the gala, I received an unexpected email from Davidson. You were right, he wrote. Not just about the technology, but about how we stifled innovation. Your success wasn't just about building a better system. It was about building a better way to innovate. I should have listened. I saved the email but didn't respond. Some lessons have to be learned the hard way. Besides, we were too busy changing the future to dwell on the past. The Nova Innovation Lab has since spawned 12 breakthrough technologies and counting. Each one emerged from someone who was once told their ideas were unrealistic or impractical. Each one proved that the best innovations often come from the people who are willing to work in silence until the right moment to change everything. As I write this from my office overlooking the lab, I can see teams of developers working on the next big breakthroughs. None of them care about corner offices or corporate hierarchies. They care about creating something meaningful, about solving problems that others claim can't be solved. And every now and then, when I interview a promising developer who was told to think smaller at their previous job, I smile and tell them the same thing. Show me what you can do when nobody tells you to stop dreaming. Because sometimes the biggest revolutions start with a whisper, not a shout. Sometimes the best revenge isn't proving people wrong, it's showing them a better way to be right.